Alright, today we have Mr. David Rad from IHM Church, who is also our Vice Principal at Bishop McGinnis. We are interviewing him about youth ministry at Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church. So, first question, what is your story?
I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so I came from a neighborhood called Port Richmond. Port Richmond had 6 churches, so you could literally walk from church to church with it, and they hit all 6 churches in about 20 minutes, so a really Catholic neighborhood. And I went to the BBM grade school, and then after that I went to Roman Catholic High School, which was the first diocesan high school in America, opened in 1890. So I went to Catholic school for 13 years, and then after high school I went to High Point University, and since then I've been in High Point, North Carolina. My student teaching year, I was at IHM school. I taught middle school math and science, and started getting involved in volunteering at IHM at the church. Really awesome parish here. And I taught at the school and volunteered with the church, and then the same year I became assistant principal at Bishop McGinnis. I kind of fell into the youth ministry role at IHM. I was a volunteer, and our youth minister left for a mission year, and here I am still youth minister 2 years later.
Alright, now how long have you been affiliated with IHM?
I've been here around IHM since my freshman year at High Point. So I got to High Point in 2007, and I remember I was in Spanish class one time, and we had to write an essay about our high school experience, and I put that I went to Roman Catholic. And my Spanish professor, Dr. Rodriguez, she brought me up after class one day and said, "You need to come to church at IHM." And I didn't realize there was a Catholic church even in High Point, North Carolina. I thought it was all Methodist churches down here in North Carolina. And I went to IHM, and I've been affiliated with the school ever since. I remember the old building down on Montleau was right across the street from High Point University, so I could literally walk to church. I walked to student teaching many days, and now we're up here on Johnson Street at this beautiful new campus.
Great. So, what brought you to want to work with the youth?
I think being involved with the youth just gave me purpose and meaning. It allowed me to help others. It allowed me to give back. It was fun, most importantly, and I really get a good sense of accomplishment from it. And I look back at my work in youth ministry, and I say to the teens a lot, I'm so jealous that they have this awesome program to be a part of. In Philly, we had Catholic school and Mass on Sunday, and that was it. There was no really youth ministry program. We had CYO basketball and baseball, and you could play sports with the people at your church, but other than that, there was no youth ministry program. And to be a part of this program has helped me in my faith just as much as it has helped all the youth as part of it.
How has working with young people changed you?
Working with the youth here has shown me that our faith isn't just meant to be in a religion class or in church on Sunday, but it can permeate every single minute of our lives, every single day, every single decision of our lives. If we truly use our faith and we put our faith into action, then our lives are going to be transformed. Our lives are going to be extraordinary. They're not just going to be mediocre. There really can be something great. So if we take our faith and we put it into our decision making, we take our faith and we put it into our relationships with our friends, family, loved ones, then those relationships will blossom into something just amazing. Our faith isn't meant to just be a box put on a shelf for a couple hours a week, but it's meant to just be poured out to every second of every day.
So, why is youth ministry important?
Youth ministry is important because it's different than the religious instruction we get at Catholic schools. Our religion classes are great. They give us the foundation. They teach us about the faith, but youth ministry is different in the fact that youth ministry can show us how to put that faith into action. Father Joe here put it great, and he said, in our religious education, we're planting the seeds of the faith on the hearts and minds of the youth, but in youth ministry, we show the youth how to allow those seeds to grow and to bear fruit, how the youth can put their faith into action in middle school, in high school, and in college and beyond. So really, we don't just teach about it, but we teach teach how to live it. And I think that's so different. If we're just practicing our faith on for an hour on Sunday, then we're missing out on this great potential that our faith life has.
Okay, so the focus for the project is supposed to be stemming from the Diocese of Charlotte. So if there's one thing about the youth programs in the Diocese of Charlotte you could change, what would it be?
I think that one thing that could change about youth ministry is just how we look at it. It's not meant to just be instruction where there's a teacher up at the front of the room talking at the youth, but the youth being able to go and break out into small groups, get to know one another, to build Christ-filled relationships with one another where they can share their faith with one another. It's about having fun in a safe environment. It's about experiencing Christ in the Eucharist and through praise and worship, through laughter, through games. We really need to show our youth that what you thought about church is it, I would say, church doesn't have to be boring. And I think that's the perspective that some people have on church and their faith life, is that it's all boring, but it's not. It's meant to be an experience. We're meant to grow in the faith, grow in the Spirit with Jesus Christ.
Okay, so working for a church as big as IHM in your role, how tough is it for you to coordinate everything that goes on here within the youth programs?
We have a really large parish, so we have about 100 students in 7th grade confirmation prep, another 100 in 8th grade confirmation prep, and then we also have a faith formation program from kindergarten through 5th grade, and 6th graders can also attend youth ministry. On top of that though, after the students receive the sacrament of confirmation, that's not the end of their faith journey. They can still come back each Sunday after our youth mass and go to our Life Team program. So those high school students that attend Life Team, they're not required to come for a sacrament. They're choosing to be here with their brothers and sisters in Christ each Sunday, which is just amazing. When you can have 50 to 85 high school students come and share their faith with one another, grow in the Spirit together, that's something extraordinary. So it can be challenging having so many different, you're talking 350 students to manage, but it's possible through adults who want to step up and volunteer. It's possible through college students that want to give up their time for the youth, help lead those youth closer to Christ. The Life Team program that we use, the mission of Life Team is to lead teens closer to Christ, and if we keep that as the focal point of our program, then we're definitely going to find success.
Ministry coordinated with the priest and the rest of the parish staff.
So really, to have a successful youth ministry program, there's a lot of collaboration that goes on. So first off, I have to, this building is vibrant, it's alive. There's a school, a pre-K through 8th grade school in the building. There's a faith formation program that meets twice a week, and then there's our youth ministry program. That's on top of all the other great ministries of the church, the Bethany Society, the Knights of Columbus, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and all the different service organizations. So the first thing to do is just to coordinate with all those groups so that we can be in the building and not conflict schedules with one another. In terms of working with the parish staff, we have to market our youth ministry program in the parish bulletin on the website. I need to work with the priests and when we have to set up mass or reconciliation or adoration. So collaborating with them and having them come talk to not just the youth, but maybe the sponsors of our confirmation candidates to show the youth that we're all one church, and once they're confirmed, they can take part in the church's many ministries too. Our confirmation students have to put in 40 hours of service their 8th grade year before they're confirmed, and 10 hours of spiritual hours. So giving them opportunities, so we work with the stewardship office here to help the youth find different volunteer and service opportunities both at church and the community. We've had over 100 students in the past couple of years go on a mission trip every summer with painting, doing community cleanups. We have youth regularly work at the Out of the Garden project to put together bags of food for the less fortunate, since High Point is one of the most food insecure places here in America. So just giving the youth a lot of different experiences, not just in youth ministry, but in all the other ministries of the church.
Alright, so how does IHM's youth program differ from other ones in the triad?
I think IHM's youth ministry program, we've taken a very progressive approach. We've not done the same old. Our past youth minister, Jessie Corsi, who's now youth minister in Atlanta, she just did an amazing job of shaking things up. She brought from a classroom model where you showed up to youth ministry, there was a general session and you broke up into different classrooms with the teacher, and she really went away from that to where our middle school students in the EDGE program met before youth mass and our Life Team high school students met after youth mass, because middle school and high school students need two different sets of experiences. What works for a middle school student doesn't work for a high school student. And in terms of confirmation, having our confirmation program really be small group focused, to where these youth that are preparing for confirmation, they walk together with a group of 8 or 9 other students the entire year, so that when they're confirmed, they have those Christ-filled relationships. So our structure is very different, our approach is very different, and just having the Oblate St. Francis de Sales here gives our spirituality a really different look and feel. We look at Salesian spirituality, be he you are, be that well, live Jesus. So we use the teaching of St. Francis de Sales a lot compared to other parishes, just because we're so blessed to have the Oblates here at our parish.
Okay, so you mentioned youth mass. Can you explain to me what that looks like?
Sure. So youth mass is at 6 p.m. every Sunday between Labor Day and Memorial Day. So every single Sunday night. And the most awesome thing about youth mass is that it's completely run by the youth. So the greeters, the lectors, the ushers, the Eucharistic ministers, the choir, they are all youth, middle school and high school youth. So that in itself is just so extraordinary to be able to show up to Mass and see the youth lighting the candles, the youth bringing up the collection, the youth preparing the liturgy itself. And on top of that, our youth Mass uses more contemporary music, so music you would hear on K-Love or the popular Christian music. So that really helps the youth more connect to their faith and connect to the liturgy itself. And we're just so blessed to have the priest really even take the time to prepare for that Mass in a different way, whether it be what their homily looks and sounds like, and also just coming before and after Mass and just hanging out with the youth. So our youth Mass is truly something special. It went from having maybe 50 attendees every single Sunday 10 years ago to now we have over 300 people come for that youth Mass every Sunday. So it's something we really enjoy and love.
Okay, earlier you said something about trips that the youth ministry programs take. Can you go into more detail about this?
Sure, we take a lot of trips. I think in the gospel, Jesus goes up to the mountain to pray and just to get away, and that's why retreats are just so crucial and so important to a successful youth ministry program. It starts in 8th grade with our confirmation students doing a day-long retreat in the fall, and they eventually lead up to a 2-night, 3-day overnight retreat in the mountains in March. So we take all 120 or so confirmation students up to the mountains to just get away, they disconnect from their phones, technology, they pray together, they praise and worship together, they have fun together. They're still in their small groups, and they build unforgettable memories throughout the way. And that retreat's led by our high school students who have already been confirmed, which is something amazing. Our Life Team program goes on a ton of trips. So our high school students have a variety of different options, whether it be our winter retreat in early December, where we get away just for a weekend during Advent, our spring retreat, which is usually at the beach, and we have 2 trips that we go on every single summer. The first is Catholic Heart Work Camp, and CHWC is an opportunity for 30 or so youth to go to an underprivileged area to meet youth from around the country, to get their hands dirty, whether they're painting, doing yard work, working at a food bank for the week. They're truly serving those in need. 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to build a wheelchair ramp for a woman who could get out of her own home because she was wheelchair bound. So Catholic Heart really puts things in greater perspective. And then after the day of service, the youth come together from across the country and They participate in games, in skits, in praise and worship, and just dance parties. It's just a lot of fun. So we've been in Charleston, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, and this summer we're going to Hardinville, South Carolina. So CHWC is something that IHM has taken part in the past 20 plus years. And we're so blessed to be part of it. And then the other summer trip that we go on is Life Teen Camp Cove Crest. This will be our 4th year going. And Cove Crest is just a time for the students to just get away, go up to the mountains of Tiger, Georgia, to again meet with other Catholic brothers and sisters from across the country. There's free time where they can hang out in the lake, they can play games, play sports, go zip lining, high ropes courses. We take a whole day to go whitewater rafting on Class 3 and 4 rapids. And then at night have unique worship experiences that lead them closer to Christ. Cove Crest is probably my favorite week out of the entire year. It helps me to enlighten my faith and give me that faith boost that I need. And every student that's gone to Cove Crest has just loved it and enjoyed it so much. So we started 4 years ago taking 8 youth, and this summer we're going to be taking 35 youth. So it's something that's grown exponentially throughout the years. And our church is so blessed to be able to send youth to Cove Crest every single summer.
So what makes a youth ministry program successful?
A successful youth ministry program, in my opinion, is built on relational ministry. So it's a youth minister that can get to know the youth, but also a youth minister that is able to cast their nets out and pull in some adult and college volunteers that will also be relational ministers. So you have a model where it's the person leading the youth ministry program, but then they have a core team of dedicated adults to help work behind the scenes, to help cast their nets out to pull more youth in. And then over the past couple of years, what's even made our program more successful is beyond a core team of adults, we also have a leadership team of teens. And those teams are dedicated to putting in extra hours for the youth ministry program. They cast their nets out and they recruit more students to come to Life Teen. They also are leaders in our Confirmation and Edge programs, so the younger students get to see what it means to live out your faith and volunteer your time, talent, treasure for the betterment of other people. So definitely having those people who are willing to meet the outsider, to get to know the new students, that's what makes the youth ministry program so successful. Having youth just dive in and be excited about their faith and be excited about what's going on in the youth program, that has helped tremendously. And as we go on, we pick up people with different talents. So we have students that are really great at art, so they might help decorate or put together marketing materials. We have students who have the musical talent, which I don't have, so those students are able to lead us in praise and worship. We have students that just have such high energy that are willing to stand up in front of a group of people and talk. So it's definitely finding teens that have a talent and helping them utilize their talents for the betterment of the youth program. Another thing that makes youth ministry so successful is just allowing a safe space for students to sit down, talk about real life issues, to get into a small group and pray together, to get into a small group and say, you know, these are my challenges I'm going through in my middle school or in my high school, and realizing, look, my problems aren't unique to me. There's other people that are on the journey with me. That's what keeps people coming back to youth ministry, because it's somewhere that they can just feel comfort and peace.
So what does your day-to-day responsibilities look like?
So some of my day-to-day responsibilities center around my email inbox. So I usually average about 20 to 50 emails a day, whether me receiving email or sending email back. It could be from parishioners who need help at their home, to parents who want to get their student involved, to coordinating all the different trips we take with the retreat centers we go to. And on top of that, also meeting with my leadership teams, my core team once a week, coming early to church on Sunday to prepare for youth ministry, meeting with parish council, meeting with music ministry to coordinate liturgy. So it's definitely a lot of meetings. It's a lot of emailing back and forth. It's a lot of going on social media, posting on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because that's the way that people communicate these days. So having a strong social media presence is so important, making sure that we're taking photos and videos so that we can share the good news of our youth ministry program with others. So there's always something to do. There's always core members that need to be recruited, so never, ever stop recruiting new volunteers, never stop recruiting new students to join us. A lot of times, I think to myself, how sad would it be if someone was just waiting for that invitation to come to youth group and never got it. So always constantly inviting teens I see at church, at school, hey, what are you doing on Sunday night? Come to Life Team. And they can come that one time, and that could be the time that gets them hooked and keep coming back for years to come.
So a lot of our talk has been mentioning high school students and lower, but what about college students?
So we have High Point University only about 10 minutes from IHM. So having the High Point University Catholic Campus Ministry involved with our youth program has been so important to us, because it shows our teens that when they get to college, they can still practice their faith. When I was at High Point University as a student, there was no mass on campus. You had to go over to IHM, which was right across the street. But now that IHM has moved up to our new campus, we're not so close anymore. Through the leadership of our priests, High Point now has Sunday Mass offer at 9 p.m. every single Sunday, and that's just been amazing for those students, because at High Point there are more than 50% of the students on the campus are Catholic. So our priests go to campus every single Sunday and say Mass for anywhere from 100 to 300 students, and during that Mass, our parish has been able to send snacks and send their love, send their support for their college students, and in turn, we've been able to be a place for the college students to volunteer. So saying IHM, as a parish, we're committed to helping HBU students, but HBU students have in turn come back and helped IHM through their participation in youth ministry and other parts of the church. So this Catholic campus ministry, which didn't exist 10 years ago, is now vibrant and thriving. The leadership has been extraordinary leadership from our priests, the leadership from the students there who said, you know, we're at a Methodist university, but there are a lot of us Catholics here, and we want a place to worship as well.
So were you involved in any youth programs when you were younger, and if not, do you regret that?
So when I was a high school student, we didn't really have a parish youth ministry. Our church on Sunday was, the number of people there was significantly less than the number of people you'd find at Mass here at IHM each Sunday. But I did participate in campus ministry at my high school. So whenever we had school-wide liturgy once a month, I was either an altar server or a reader, or I helped put the Mass together, coordinate with our campus minister. So I was always involved in, school ministry with my faith. I wish there had been a youth ministry program here like our Life Team group, because I think that would have just been something extraordinary for me to be part of. I so enjoy praise and worship. I so enjoy going to adoration, and if I had the exposure to it like our Life Team students now do, I think the fruits of my faith would have blossomed even sooner.
Now, in your future, even if you don't remain the youth minister at IHM, is youth ministry something you would like to be in your future?
Oh, I think I always remain active in parish youth ministry. As a volunteer, it's something different than just Catholic school, because at youth ministry you're able to also enrich your faith, and it's always said you can't give what you don't have, so it's hard to share the faith when your own faith is waning. So I believe that through participation in youth ministry, I'm able to keep my prayer life and my faith life alive and reinvigorated all the time. Every single retreat we go on, whether even though it's a lot of work to put the retreat together, I get so much out of it, just like the students do. I see the students, when I see them, closing their eyes and putting their hand up in praise, or I'm able to participate in adoration or praise and worship. It's just something that gives me life and gives me hope and love and joy. And on top of that, there's always those fun experiences, whether we're doing a hike to the top of a mountain, or we're participating in archery or zip lining. Those things will always be fun for me, so I think I'll always remain involved. And I believe that staying involved in the confirmation prep program is so important too, because I think one of the hard things in a confirmation program is allowing the students to not see confirmation as kind of their graduation from religious education and catechesis, but confirmation is just the beginning.